Alrighty, so hey guys, this is Thomas Novacell. I am writing Runaway Hirelings, which is my tabletop role-playing game that I've been working on for months and months and months and months. But and we're in the playtest stage now. Playtest packet 02 came out a while ago, and I've played it a couple times. I've also listened to some other people play it, which is kind of cool. And I've been doing a lot of game talk for it, and I think I dropped the name a couple times in the first podcast episode that I released for A Guild for Creative Invention, where I talked with Ole Padar. He helped write Itcher Spy, and then I think something called Good Friends with Jason Morningstar. I'm terrible with remembering games names. But anyways, today we are working on combat for 03, which is kind of a big thing, as combat in 02 really didn't work out that great. It was very not in the same vein as the rest of the game. So we're going to work on that today. And I'm just going to be working on it kind of live. So I guess live, as in I'm just going to record it and then smash together, edit it afterwards. But yeah, in which case I probably should make sure I have my pencil and paper so I can mark down times, which is always important when you're doing stuff like that. So, yeah. Anyways, so I guess the first thing I should do is talk about why I'm changing combat. And the big thing that came up was, this isn't a game about grinding. Like, you're not supposed to do the hack and then hack back. You're incompetent hirelings, or you're barely competent hirelings, which means you shouldn't be doing all the fighting. You shouldn't be fighting all the time, because fighting should be the last resort, and even then, it should be quick and it should be fatal. There should be no question about whether you do it or not, and there shouldn't be the going back and forth constantly rolling dice, because rolling dice really isn't like a big part of this game, but there's still the need for randomness at some point. So combat, I know I'm keeping the dice. I know that I can't keep it the same way that it's been going. So we're going to go open up the current version, and we're gonna look at combat right now and just quickly analyze what it is currently. So if we go down to combat. All right, how combat works. First off, we're not getting rid of the gold. I've heard there's a few different misconceptions about what it stands for, and I think that's because I need to make a better definition for it. Essentially, gold is my version of hit points. It just seems more thematically appropriate, but obviously calling it hit points as being the synonym for it is not really as appropriate. So we're going to try making that into something more interesting. In other words, I like the idea of having it still be gold. I like the idea of, at the end, having some measure up because of how much gold you have. And that may be a good idea. Like, I may have a thing at the end for helping with epilogues that's like, oh, how much gold do you have? Oh, you have between this number? All right, instead of, like, one of the two questions for epilogues, instead of one of them you can choose to answer one of the other ones, or have another question that is answered. So we're going to we're going to have that. So question choice for epilogue dependent on amount of gold remaining. All right. So there's one. Now, and we also need to think of how are we going to define gold. And I think a big way to think about it is gold is kind of like success. And in the story or the narrative, or I guess what's going on in the fiction behind the scenes, like outside of the mechanical parts, is that these hirelings are running out with gold after their masters die, and that gold is going to start up their new life. And I mean, it's their payday. It's their payday that they have to leave with. So losing gold along the way should affect that payday, which means it should affect the epilogue questions. And but how do you talk about it and still consider it kind of like a health measurement? And I think it's I think it has to do with how I'm just terming things. Or I need to reword it to be a little clearer. So, need to be clearer about how gold loss relates to death. And I think that's a good way. Right? Because I still like the idea of having multiple characters come up and about. And then we have death and how death works. Now, in the playtest, no one has died. It's supposed to be a lethal game, and yet no one has died. And I think that is mostly due in part because of the strength, after listening to some comments and some really good feedback, it has to do with the strength of your specialties. Each character has a specialty that means they automatically succeed. They just have to justify their success and wiggle it in. So we need to narrow the focus of specialties and make it more clear that equipment is separate from specialty, but specialty sometimes has to do with equipment. So we need to narrow the focus and narrow it in and make it more specific, and also have it so that it's not every time the specialty. It should be like, okay, does it strictly adhere to the specialty? Is this exactly it? It isn't? Okay, so go down the list and it's now we check. Is it when we if we're trying to apply the specialty to an unrelated action, so the BS justification kind of thing? All right, look at that. Is it trying to apply it in a way that is it trying to apply it? Oh, it is? Okay. Well, I mean, I think that's also something. Maybe we have to look at that and be a little more clearly worded, so that so that failure is a thing that does happen. Because I mean, like this, the specialty thing is supposed to happen because people will be attempting to wedge it in, and it's supposed to happen the most. However, it's supposed to happen the most because you're supposed to have reason to choose to fail. That's why the fail point economy is there. So if there's no reason to choose to fail, we got to look at, okay, why is there no reason that someone would choose to fail? And it's because it's not fun, interesting, or it doesn't seem as prevalent. So that's probably because either when something isn't your thing, doesn't happen as much, or the risk involved isn't high enough. Or there's not some kind of narrative setback in the discussion. It needs to be a little bit better. So we're going to clearly word it over here. And then we're going to go down and we're going to look at, all right, so this right here needs to come up more often, or not necessarily more often, or be more risky. So be more risky as in more narrative failure that causes setbacks. Possibly setting up future deaths or pain for the adventuring party. So I guess a good way to say that would be hard failures may result in having to have a condition met in the next room to proceed, or in this room to leave it. So yeah, okay, so that's actually a good idea, is having setbacks for really bad failure. So that yes, on a 5 and 6 you do it, but on everything else there is a setback. So there is like a really good reason why you want those fail points. And another thing that came up a lot during play was no one used fail points. And I think that was because they did not seem very important, they didn't seem mission critical, and they also just, it wasn't clear to a player when looking at the cheat sheets that I had that, oh, what are flare points, what do flare points do, kind of thing. And it's like, oh, okay, so that makes sense. Now, going down, we're going to go back to character death. I think it works pretty good. It seems nice. And then we have reviving. I like that. It's quick. Introducing. Pretty good. Now, what else was there for feedback? The big thing was the use of flow points, but now we got to look at on the Dunark side for combat, because I mean the monster part of it is also the other half of the table, half the battle, and is where the combat gets a little muddied, because it's not as clear as everything else is, and it just devolves into hit and hack, hit and hack, hit and hack. So we're gonna go down to combat. How combat works. I'm going to highlight that quick in red, because that needs some work. Alright, now, looking at combat. As it is right now, monsters don't roll dice. Makes sense. Fits with it. It's the story of the hirelings, not the monsters. Got it. Also, hirelings aren't highly trained killers, so monsters are more likely to flee than die. So the idea is that you are not likely to kill the monster. You're more likely to force it to flee, you'll run away, or you will subdue it, not kill. Because, yeah, I mean, it doesn't make sense in my head for the killing part to come up. I'd rather have it be a conversational challenge or a tactical challenge in, I guess, the word sense, in being like, okay, what's in the room? And being like, okay, I'm not going to hit it, because hitting it will get me hurt. I have to figure out a way to get around it. And I think, actually, that's a good note to make. Hitting it isn't a effective way to fight. Treat monsters as deadly puzzles. There we go. That seems pretty good. Now, and then we got to keep in mind that the dungeon has been gone through once before now. As such, the monsters are most likely survivors of conflicts with the hirelings' employers who perished at the boss battle. So, the farther away you get from the start of the game, the less deadly monsters will become. So the less super peril. And I guess the way that works is, since you're supposed to lose tons of gold as you play, and you may lose characters, but since it gets faster and faster to go through characters as each last one dies, because you start with half as much gold. So you start with 20, then you start with 10, then you start with 5, so having the monsters be weaker by the end, I think it kind of levels out. It makes it kind of like an equal curve thing, so that it stays on a plane, but it also, yeah, it works. It works like that in math-wise. But this is where it gets really stupid. And that is because I came up with this idea, and I'm not going to say it's a stupid idea. I'm going to say that it does not work in practice as I thought it would. And that is because it is the only thing that I think that I really didn't, that wasn't a part of the original minigame, and also didn't follow the same guidelines and tonal, like, preconceptions I came up with the minigame. And it's essentially, it's you gotta take away hit points from a monster. Resolve is essentially a form of hit points, but instead of hit points, it's just number of effective hits. And then the monster is subdued, run away, or whatever. And then the monster is able to do damage back, which happens whenever a character fails. Well, it's not as interesting. It's not interesting. It doesn't make a room more exciting. It ends up being something that's like, oh, okay, let's get out of here so we can go to the next fictional challenge. Like, how are we going to unstack all the chairs in the center of the room without disturbing the sleeping ghost on top? Or, no, how do we climb all the stacked chairs in the center of the room, not disturbing the sleeping ghost children underneath the chairs, so that we can get to the hole above the chandelier and climb our way to victory? So, it's like, that's a deadly situation that involves creatures. But it's not hitting. It's not hacking, slashing, or whatever. It is, so it's higher up. And I think that's the thing I should go for is having it work similarly where it's all about answering questions, where it's about doing this stuff, but obviously failure is more of an option. Failure is a thing, but if you're making a failure, you got to have consequences, but then you also have to still have a point for the players to embellish, for everyone around the table to be like, oh my god, you just BS'd your failure so great, and it's you started stacking the chairs on top of themselves, making a rickety tower, but that was a terrible idea because you were taking from the bottom of the center chair pile to make a more effective pile for one person, and now everything comes crashing down and all the ghost babies are everywhere. So, yeah. And I'll get more into that. I'm essentially going to go with a dice roll still format, but it's going to be more effective. It's going to be like a hit or win kind of thing. It's a hit or win, and I like that idea. So, yeah, let's go over there. All right, so what we're doing with combat, we're going to essentially mimic. We're going to mimic this right here, trying to do something that is within the ability of an ordinary adventure, but is outside your specialty. And that is because, hey, it works pretty cool. I like it. It just needs to have a little more option for embellishment when being used. So this is where we're gonna go. This is what we're gonna go with. We're gonna take we're gonna essentially say something along the lines of, when you are in a perilous situation with outside forces, or with an opposing force, or when you are in a perilous situation with forces that threaten to harm you if disturbed or encountered. Nah. Alright, so when you are in a XXXXX blank, look around the table. If you have a flow point, add +1 to your die roll for every 1 spent. If, then roll a d6. After making it clear to everyone what your intentions are for confronting this deadly situation. When you are in a situation where the danger threatens your life, look around the table. And then we'll have it be whether it be the future actions of a monster, a opposing force which acts against your success with threats, with intentions of using lethal force, or just a trap, or just a situation where messing up could kill you. If you have a fail point, add +1 to your die roll for every 1 spent. Then roll d6 after making it clear to everyone what your intentions are for confronting this deadly situation. Alright, so we're gonna now roll a d6 and add appropriate. Spending 1 flow point will give you a +1 to your roll. Allies can spend 2 flow points to give you a +1 to your roll. And then, what else was it? If an advantage. If your advantage would give you aid, would you better off or more qualified in your task? Roll 2 dice and use the higher 2. Your disadvantage would make you worse off or more or less qualified, more likely to fail at your task. Roll 2 dice and use the lower of the 2 as your result. Alright. Alright, so what we got so far. We have ways to increase your chances of success. This is how someone would give aid in this situation. So we have ways for boosting your chances of success. And that's important because essentially this die roll is going to determine some success and stuff. So this is what we do. This is how we're going to do it. A opposing force. Alright, so after you roll the die and your result is apparent, compare your result to below to determine how it went and what happens next. Alright, so now we gotta do this. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we're also going to make a 7. And that'll be 7 and up actually. So let's actually make that a proper table. Alright, so table, insert 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 by 2. Drag that over. Alright, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 or higher. There you go. Allies can spend 2 flow points to give you a +1 to your roll. This is how someone would give aid. We're going to highlight this quick because I'm not sure how that will balance out, but maybe consecutive bonuses or each additional aid after a first costs 1 extra flail point. Which, I mean, yeah, that may be something to think about so that it doesn't get pushed too far. And then we need to have a column above. Result. What happens next? I'll do rolled result. And yeah, we'll have to figure out the terming better for that. But okay, so this is essentially what I'm thinking. Crit fail. 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 At cost. No, we're gonna do fail again. Because, yeah, failure's a thing. Good. Crit. Super crit. Alright. Now, the reason for this. Now, since it's just rolling, most of the time it'll only be one die, because advantages and disadvantages does not come up as often as I thought it would just yet. And I mean, that's also a good thing. It's not supposed to come up all the time. It's supposed to come up it's supposed to come up at least once in a session. It's not supposed to apply all the time. Just like a lot of the rules are meant to happen only once in a session. Because I mean, like, there's only so many rolls you can make in a session. There's only so many things you can act in a session that is outside of just common dialogue and acting. Like, that doesn't require looking at the rules. Just needed a drink. But, so we're looking at this. We're looking at this right now. I'm not changing the amount of failure. I'm just changing what failure means. And I'm adding critical fail, because I think critical fails are a good idea. I like the idea if someone rolls we're going to say a natural one. Natural one. Natural 6. Or actually, no, just 6. Just a 6. Nat 1s are the only things that don't get affected by modifiers. And I think that sounds cool. Nat 1, which means, it means if you roll a 1 on your d6, don't even look at the modifiers or anything you had, because that's a nat 1. I think the only thing that would apply would be advantage. The only thing that would affect that would be advantage can negate a nat 1. And then also, yeah, I think that'll work. Disadvantage, obviously, if you roll nat 1, you're going to take the disadvantage. So, yeah, so that one negates nat 1. Now, we should probably look first at what does success mean. And we're going to look at the good success. So, you succeed at your task. And expertly, and essentially, we gotta figure out what does this mean for in a combat scenario or for any scenario. So we have to apply it to multiple things. Succeeding at a task is kind of bland, now that I think of it. I want to say something like, you succeed despite all odds and considered chances. How... Alright, now we gotta look at what we do for questions for other things, so we kind of keep it differently. So, for success over here, where we have questions, it's telling us a story. All of them are about telling story, telling technique, and describing how you got close to failing. Then over here we have things that are describing how you fail. Now this one, I want to make it more specific. I want to make it more pointed. And since the success really isn't based on the hirelings, it's based on just odd coincidental chance most of the time. So you succeed despite all odds and considered chances, probably because of what you see in the background. Because of what you find, maybe? Probably because of... See, this is the difficulty of doing stuff like this. You succeed despite all odds and consider chances, probably because of... the... figure in the background. probably because of the ridiculous nature and way you attempt this. Wait, no, because of the distracting way you attempt this. Okay, you succeed despite all odds. You've done it. You've done it. You can run away. You have done it. You can succeed. Tell everyone. Oh. Ask another player what this looks like from their viewpoint, based on your previous description. After they describe what they see, tell everyone what your character is thinking in his head at this moment. All right, I think that's a good one. It's a fun one. You succeed. You have done it. You can succeed. I think that's a good one because combat is usually highly avoided. It may only come up one time during a session, and that's how it's meant to be. So we don't have to worry too much about duplicating all this stuff, because all the other rules should just happen more, and these are supposed to be more pointed and more specific, kind of like reactionary scenario things. So I think this is a good one. This is a good one. You have done it. You can succeed. You can do it. You've done it. You will succeed. Succeed. No. And then we have crit. You are the greatest. Probably. In the most literal sense at this moment. Whatever force was in your path, you have expertly accomplished your goal. And removed yourself. And removed the danger that could harm you. Remove the possibility that you could be hurt. But you also have assisted someone else. We have also assisted someone else so that they may not come to harm. Alright. Cool. Yeah. Alright, so no. Whatever force was in your path, you have expertly accomplished your goal and remove the possibility that you could be harmed. Tell everyone. Have everyone around the table make a quick comment on the spectacle. Almost like those cutaway things they do during reality TV shows. That might be fun. So, what are those? God dang it. Let me just see if I can try to remember. Actually, you know what? We'll use the magic of Google for this. Because, yeah. Let's look it up. So, reality TV show cutaways. Cutaway interviews. I don't know what they're called. Are those confessionals? Yes, the TV confessional. Alright. So, almost like a reality. Have everyone around the table make a quick comment on the spectacle as if they were in private. And after the dungeon is over. On the spectacle, on this scene, on this series of events. Alright. Whatever force is in your path, you have expertly accomplished your goal and removed the possibility that you could be harmed. Have everyone around the table make a quick comment on this series of events as if they were alone and alone remarking on it. We're alone and after the adventure was over. Have everyone's characters, have every player's characters around the table make a quick comment on this series of events. Around the table to make a quick comment on this series of events as if they were alone and after the adventure was over. Maybe it should be one person. I mean, yeah, okay, so, and then we got super crits. We're the greatest. Probably in the most literal sense of the word at the moment. Alright, so now, essentially what this is playing up to is these are more individual scenes. That's why combat doesn't come up as much. But, yeah. Let's do a failure. Actually, no, we're going to do a failure next, because failures are fun too. Alright. Not too hot. Not too hot today. Not doing great today. Not doing great today. Whatever danger you were attempting to avoid, mitigate, or just run from. Or just run from. So, not doing great today. Whatever danger you were attempting to avoid, mitigate, or just run from has come and knocked you. Has come and caused great harm to you. To lose 2d6 plus 4. Wait. Alright. Now we gotta go to anydice.com. Anydice.com. Because we gotta see what 2d6 plus 4 looks like. So, anydice.com, great website for checking out dice curves. So let's do that. Calculate. So we're gonna do 2d6 plus 4, and it looks like it peaks at 11. Whereas if it was just 2d6, it peaks at 7. Yeah. That sounds pretty cool. I like it. It'll probably be super deadly. Or maybe it should be 3. Yeah, we'll go with 2d6 plus 3. Lose 2d6 plus 3 gold. And describe to everyone how each coin rolls away or goes to a place where it could not ever be recovered. There is no hope in reclaiming those lost riches as they fly away, as they let loose, as they are lost from your pouches, bags, and pockets. Pouches, bags, pockets, or other places. Alright, not doing great today. Whatever danger you were attempting to avoid, mitigate, or just run from has come and caused great harm to you. Lose 2d6 plus 3 gold and describe to everyone how each coin rolls away or goes to a place where it could not ever be recovered. There is no hope in reclaiming those lost riches as they are gone forever. Yeah, there we go. Gone forever. And then let's see, what else could we do? We could do, yeah, not doing great today. Alright, so that's one failure. Nice. And even though these are different, like these three are essentially going to have a similar loss. A similar loss. And by that I mean there's going to be different, like it's going to be the same kind of cost, but a different type of cost for each one. So 2d6 plus 4 is pretty... I'm going to change it back to d6 4 plus 4 because that's pretty dangerous. I like that. Now, I think we should also have one where it is lose flail points. And if you don't have any to lose, you... let's see. You... what could be a good cost for that? You... let's see. You must opt to fail. Yes, you must opt to fail whenever your specialty is supposed to be used until you have made up the difference. All right. And that's going to be the cost for it, maybe. I think that's a good one. That's a good one. It pushes them to do more stuff until they can get the cost off. But I mean, but what does that pertain? What does that mean? Choose a question when you put yourself in danger, or the Dunark does grab a flail point. Okay. Yeah, I think that works. We just got to figure out what is the question. What is the description for that? You panicked. You flubbed. You flubbed hard at this task. At this. You let everyone down, and now the fates seem to be against you. You lose 3 flail points, and if you don't have any to lose, you must opt to fail whenever your specialty is supposed to be used until you have paid the cost yourself. Tell everyone how your luck turning sour affects the current situation. Affects the current situation, and then affects the current situation. And find out and tell everyone how your bad luck is now tangible. Now tangible. Smell, noise, mannerisms, body transformation. Body discolorment? No. Yeah, so smell, noise, mannerisms, or other type of any other way it could be noticed as a physical, as a change. I think that should work for the moment. All right, so we have one way that brings up flail point debt. We have one way that not doing great today, guys, which is the cost, which is cool. And then we have failing. The last way, which how should that work? Let's see. What other ways are there to Okay. So another way would be probably to maybe redirect the damage. Since it's 4, it should be a little bit weaker. That way there's kind of like a gradient. So you have the opportunity to mitigate harm. Or take it just straight. Take it right now. Offer everyone around the table a number of flail points or your own gold. In return, they will take the consequences of your failure. A loss of 2d6 gold. Agree. No. So, alright. You have the opportunity to mitigate or take harm or take it right now. Offer everyone around the table a number of flail points or your own gold. In return, if in return, they will take the consequences of your failure, a loss of 2d6 gold. The terms of this transaction should be made certain before rolling for the amount of gold lost. If no one will accept it, you just lose it. But either way, describe how either someone else takes the blow, but either way, the person who loses must describe how they are hurt, how they are getting hurt, and why it has to be them getting hurt. Alright. But either way, the person who loses gold must describe how they are getting hurt and why it has to be them that gets hurt. There we go. Alright, and now we have 2 things left, which are the crits. And the crits, I want to have multiple questions to, because I want them to be fun things that pervade to the next room. So these would affect the next room. Now, crit fails, I essentially want to have be a list of things that will come up next room. So, like a specific condition. So, specific condition that has to be met in the next room or this room to proceed any further. And I think that would be a cool one to have 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I think so. 5, 6. Because dice rolls are fun sometimes. I think that one works. Yeah. Over here we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Cool. Alright, so combat looks like it's shaping up. Shaping up slowly. Early grade is probably in the most literal sense at this moment. Whatever force was in your path, you have expertly accomplished your goal and removed the possibility that anyone could be harmed. Have every player's characters are on the table. Make a quick comment on this series of events as if they were alone and after the adventure was over. And reminiscing on what happened. There we go. There you go. Alright, so, yeah, I think that's slowly shaping up. I like it. And, we got about 9 minutes left. So, yeah, I think I'm gonna go work on, it's hard to choose. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think we should just keep going somewhere. Let's look. More things that have to go up still. We're gonna we'll make a note of some changes that still have to be made. So we're gonna go to my chapter writing folder. Oh my. We're gonna call this Combat 3.0, and then we're gonna go to here and call this changes and notes. Alright, so first we have Combat 03. We have advantages and disadvantages. Need better wording. And then we also have flow point. Economy needs to be more prevalent. Lethality needs to be more visible. And almost surefire. And then what else is there? We can go back to over here. I think it's in this folder where I was writing up 3. Oh yeah, we have new build questions coming. Ooh, because I wrote up a thing on how I'm going to create them. So yeah, we have more interplayer. Yes, more interplayer relationship build questions. Information on how length of time works. Add new combat rules. Yep, working on that. And then, we're doing pretty good. Doing pretty good, guys. So yeah, I think that's. I'm just gonna call this one early. That's me. I'm working on Runaway Hirelings. Doing combat stuff. Yeah. Have a good one. All right. Bye.